And we are on the Mark Hoke Show and very excited to have, well, one of the top stars in AEW, two-time Ring of Honor World Champ and World Tag Team Champion. Didn't forget about that. And, of course, from WWE, seven-time World Tag Team Champion, U.S. Champ, Andre the Giant Battle Royal winner, and 12th in last year's PWI 500.
Oh, all right. I didn't know that.
You didn't know that?
No.
Well, there you
thank
go.
you.
Dropping a bomb
Thanks for
on
dropping
you.
the good news on me.
There you go. Claudio Castagnoli on the Mark Hoke Show. Claudio, welcome. How are you?
I'm doing great. How are you doing, Mark?
Very excited, and welcome back to Las Vegas.
Yeah, it's good to be back.
I'm very happy to have you here. And, of course, we're going to be getting ready to have you paying a visit to us here on February 10th for AEW Collision down at the Dollar Loan Center, Super Bowl weekend.
Yeah. We figured what's better to start off the Super Bowl weekend than come to Collision. It's like the best appetizer, right? You go to Collision, you have a great time, and then you go to a party somewhere, and then you watch the Super Bowl the next day.
Yeah, that's going to be a special night. I can't imagine what it's going to be like up in the stands with,
I think
all you guys, celebrities. It's going to be an amazing night.
I think it's going to be a great night, and I feel like a lot of people coming in from out of town, a lot of people coming in internationally to go see the Super Bowl or whatever else Vegas has to offer. I think one or two other things that you can do in Vegas while you're here.
Are you sure?
I think there's a couple of casinos or something I've heard. So you can do all that, and then you can come see Collision. I think that will just be like for some people a really, really cool weekend. And if you haven't booked it yet, get your tickets now.
Yeah, what are you waiting for? My God. Well, of course, you've been in AEW now for a couple of years.
Yeah.
And when Adam Copeland showed up,
yeah,
I was there on his debut night, and he said something about being free. And I'm curious, did you have that feeling when you first showed up in AEW that you kind of felt like you had a sense of freedom now that you had arrived in AEW?
Yeah, I think so. It's different, right? It's new, it's scary, it's different, different environment, and there is an excitement to it. So, I guess you can call it like there's a little bit more freedom there, and it's fun. It's fun to explore, and especially part of the BCC. I mean, we can just kind of do whatever we want. We just do whatever we want, so it's a good time.
You guys have been doing whatever you want. And
yeah,
of course,
yeah.
The Blackpool Combat Club, with Bryan Danielson, Wheeler Yuta, John Moxley, you guys have been pushing some boundaries. I mean, there's been some crazy stuff you've done. You've been beating a lot of people up, a lot of bloodshed. I mean, it's been an interesting ride for you guys, to say the least.
Yeah, I mean, since I came in, I've done 2 Blood and Guts matches. I did Anarchy in the Arena. I did Anarchy in the Stadium Stampede. So a lot of matches that I'm usually not quite involved in or never was, and now I am. So it's fun. It's a challenge, and it's even better doing it with your friends. As in, like being around Mox and Bryan and Yuta, it's just, we're having fun.
What is it like to do matches like that? Because, some people, those matches make people a little bit uncomfortable to watch. I mean, you guys have done some pretty brutal things in the ring and outside and everything else. I mean, some creative spots, but some that people may watch and go, yeah.
That's a little bit too far, yeah. I guess... I think part of what we do is to see where the boundaries are and push those boundaries, because none of us in the BCC, between me and Mox and Bryan, we're always trying to push the boundaries. We're always like, okay, what can we do better? What can we do different? You know what I mean? So it's kind of, I always felt anywhere I went, like wrestling, I was like, okay, what are the boundaries? Cool. How can I push it? And I don't mean like be disrespectful to whatever, but like, how can I push that boundary further? That's my job, to make it better, to push it further. Sometimes, you go way too far, and then you'll be like, all right, maybe pull it back a bit. But I never really wanted to play it safe. Because if you play it safe, it's just, you can do that. But you want to challenge yourself and do something new. And sometimes it may be a tad too far. Sometimes it may be not for some people. But I also feel like if you just do it with conviction and when you think it's right. And what there was a lot of people who like it and enjoy it as well.
I think it's been interesting over your career because you have really had to reinvent yourself a few times between the time in Ring of Honor and your time in WWE and then coming over to AEW. You've made so many different changes along the way to try to get yourself to the top. And it's been so interesting to watch, to see, the James Bond type stuff and, the Cesaro character and the Kings of Wrestling. I mean, all the different ways that you have shaped yourself. It's been an interesting evolution. When you think about it, I can already see you smiling a little bit when you think about it. How do you do that to keep yourself fresh as a character in the ring?
Like you said, it's an evolution, right? And I kind of mentioned it earlier. Like I don't want to stand still, because I feel like if you stand still, people pass you or you just get complacent. And I never wanted to be that. I always wanted to get better and improve at whatever that might be. And all those things that you mentioned, it was like the Kings of Wrestling back in the day, and then like me and Tyson Kidd, and then the Bar and so forth. Like everything in WWE, James Bond, and then AEW, Blackpool Combat Club. It was always me. Like it was never like, here's me playing this guy. I always wanted it to be real, connected to me, because that was always the part that was very, very important to me. That it always is very authentic in what I am and what I represent, and I never sacrifice anything for it. And to me, you always want to get better. You always want to improve. You always want to kind of reinvent yourself, which is very scary, because it's like, I can keep doing this, and it's going to be okay, right? It's going to be good. But I need to reinvent myself and become even better. And you see a lot of the top stars, if not all of them, do that. If you see like how, like even Mox or Bryan, like how many character evolutions they had in their career, like it's the guys who just change because they want to get better. And it's really scary to change, as like switch places or move or whatever, but you have to do that in order to grow. And I'm happy that I did it so many times, and I think I'm not done, because I still want to get better.
It almost seems like, when I've gotten to talk to Bryan Danielson, that he seems like he's the wise man on the top of the mountain. And I can only imagine what it's like to be around him so much that he's just, you couldn't help but learn from him. What is it like working with him like that all the time?
Oh, it's exactly what you said. Like I like to be the dumbest person in the room, right? Because I want to surround myself with people who are like smarter than me and like just help me push myself and help me grow. I don't want to be like the best in the room, because then it's like, okay, like I need to have people that push me and make me try to be better. And being around Mox and Bryan, they constantly do that. Like you cannot rest on your laurels or think you're awesome and just stop when you're around somebody like you said, like Bryan or Mox. Because like Bryan is super smart, he's super wise. He inspires me and pushes me to be better every time I'm around him, and I learn something every time I see him. So it's like, that's what do you want to surround yourself with? You want to be obviously confident in your ability and what you can do, but you also want to be open to learn, because you never stop learning.
So we're also just coming off the AEW Continental Classic.
Mm-hmm.
It went 2-2-1 in that. Mm-hmm. And what did you think about how that went? And I know I'm sure you would have liked to have won a little bit more, but at the same time, just overall, what your thoughts on that whole thing?
I mean, yeah, of course, personally, I think I should have won it. But certain things are out of your control, and I think if I take a step back and look at it from a fan perspective and from a company perspective, I think it was very successful because it was fun. It was something different and something you can see nowhere else. And I think the fans were looking forward to it every week. And it's like, you kind of knew what matches are going to happen. You kind of had an idea, but then it's like, it's fun. It's like a sport. You're like, okay, what's the table? Who's going to face it? You know, there's like anticipation building, and then you have the matches, and then the outcomes were different, and it's all top talent, as like it's all guys who are really, really good. So of course it can go either way. You know what I mean? Like, it's not like super predictable where you look at like, you can look at each roster and you're like, okay, I know who's going to be the top two guys and the bottom two guys in this block and that block. It was very, you could have picked either way. You know what I mean? Like, which is, I think it's very important for the fans, and I think it helped AEW grow and just get a little very focused. It was like, okay, this is what it's about, and is the prize at the end of the tournament. And I think so from a fan perspective and from a company perspective, I think it was very successful, and I hope it's going to happen again next year, so I can win the damn thing.
Now, one guy you tangled with, and you've been going around with him for a little bit, is Eddie Kingston, and a lot of water under the bridge with him.
I don't think there's any water under the bridge.
So is this beef settled first?
No,
is this thing done?
I don't think there'll ever be water under the bridge between me and Eddie, honestly.
So we're all good.
No, like I said, like there will never be water under the bridge. It's just annoying. It's I think Bryan has to deal with him now. He like, people are asking like, why did he spit in Eddie's face and whatever, like last week on Collision, and I'm like, Eddie spits in what we represent every time he goes to the ring. You know what I mean? So like, yeah, it's good for Bryan. Good for Bryan. I wish I would have done it earlier.
Oh boy, I'll tell you, this is never going to end.
No,
it's never going to end.
I don't think it ever will.
All right, fair enough.
I just don't want it. I'm kind of done wasting energy on him. So
all right,
yeah,
that's legit.
Yeah.
Well, we'll see where all that goes.
Yeah.
But speaking of where it's going, where are you going to be going here soon? Because I think a lot of people are at some point looking forward to seeing you challenge for the AEW World Championship. I know as a longtime fan, and and so many people over the years have endorsed you as a guy who they'd love to see at the very top of professional wrestling at some point. When are you going to get that opportunity? And, what would that mean to you to get that chance?
Oh, I mean, a lot. I mean, like, that's what everybody works towards, right? Like, to be the world champion. And, I'm just working and being patient, maybe too patient, but I think that chance will hopefully come my way, and I'll grab it, I think I'll make a tremendous representative for the company and be a great world champion, So right now, Joe is the champ. It's it's interesting. It's funny, he hasn't mentioned me on the people who hit the hardest and stuff like that. So I think he just doesn't really want to get my attention, which is, I understand. So
come on, don't tell me you don't want to go out and get Samoa Joe's attention right now.
Oh, I want to get Samoa Joe's attention. I don't know if he wants my attention because it's going to be. We tangled like once or twice, and it was fun. Let's put it that way.
Fair enough. I think there's a lot of people out there who would love to see that match.
I mean, I think that match is one of the matches that never really happened back at Ring of Honor when we were both there. And I think it only happened maybe once in WWE. So I think we're due for another one.
I think it'd be fun to see.
Yeah, I think will be great. We'll have a new world champion too. So
I think that gauntlet just got laid down, everybody. Of course, we're here with Claudio Castagnoli on the Mark Hoke Show. And speaking of Ring of Honor, one thing that when we got this set up that I was thinking about was how much talent came out of those days of Ring of Honor.
Mm-hmm.
And, if things had gone a little differently, if that group had managed to stay together, how different professional wrestling may have been right now. That maybe Ring of Honor would have been that company instead of AEW. Do you guys ever talk about that and think about how much great talent was there and when you look around the landscape of professional wrestling now, I mean, you guys are everywhere and at the pinnacle of pro wrestling right now. Have you ever thought about that?
Yes, but not in the context that you mentioned. As in, we never, like, if we talk about it, it's just like, it's crazy to see those guys where we're at now. We haven't really talked about, if we would have stayed together, how Ring of Honor would have maybe grown or maybe not, because I think everybody just went on their own way to become as good as possible, because that's what we were out to prove how good we were, and we were willing to do anything, like work anywhere just as hard as possible, and we all did. And now look where we're at. Like you said, like those, they're everywhere. Like we were just talking about Joe, so like that's how kind of my brain works. You mentioned Joe, so there's just stuff popping in my head. But like, Ring of Honor champion Joe and Kobashi, I think that was one of the matches that a lot of people remember from Ring of Honor. That was one of they got like mainstream attention, and helped Ring of Honor like get a lot more eyes on it. And then he was doing commentary, and almost people thought he was done with his in-ring career, right? And now he's the AEW champion, and he's legit, right? Like he is. That's Samoa Joe, right? So, it's just cool to see those people who've been doing it for so long, and that I've been in a locker room with all over the world. They're still there. They're still kicking. They're still having a lot of pride in what they do, and still working really hard, and are very successful. And I think that speaks to us in that way, that there's a new generation coming up that is going to be in the same place of, in 10 years, 10 years from now. And it's kind of up to us to make it as hard as possible for them, because that's how you get better, right? Like, and I don't mean that in a bad way, but if there were guys there that try to make it as hard as possible to get to certain spots, because you had to earn them, you had to work hard for them, you had to prove that you were not just here for a week or two, you were in this for the long run, that you have the dedication for it, that you have the respect for it, that you have the skill for it, and that you have the mind for it, because it's not easy. You've seen people falter under pressure. You've seen people, like just kind of fade away. And, you need to make sure that the next people who are going to carry a torch are ready and are going to do it well. And there's a lot of people in AEW that I think will be able to do that in the future. Well, and all over wrestling is booming. So I think there's a lot of people out there that can carry that torch and be in those positions. It's just we're going to see who has it.
Yeah, it is a golden age in professional wrestling right now. Everywhere you're seeing companies flourishing all over the place, from AEW all the way down to the indies. It is a fascinating time. Is everything kind of settling down in AEW right now? There's, we had some turmoil and a lot of injuries and some crazy stuff going on. Do you guys feel like it's kind of getting, back to normal, and all the controversies and everything are settling down, and everything's kind of smoothed out back there?
Injuries will always happen everywhere, and it sucks. But thanks to injuries, we have the awesome returns, right? And so it felt like this Continental Classic, and then like we started off the new year with a bang in Daly's Place. I always keep calling it Daly's Palace. I don't because it's kind of the palace.
Well, it's a kingdom for you guys.
It's a kingdom for AEW. And that was like the kind of the sentiment. It was like, okay, like we got new world champ. Let's kick off the year strong, and it's like boom, like not really hitting a reset button, but like, all right, let's go. And I feel like a lot of people always want to do that. It's like, okay, so what can we do better? And I feel like the C2 showed that, okay, this is about the quality and the ring work and what we want to do. And to me, all the other stuff, like, it happens, and you can't. To me, I'm like focused on what I can control in the ring, and that is be the best that I can be. And I feel like I've been doing well in doing that. The same with the BCC, and it's very interesting. Like you see, coming here to Henderson, and you never know what's going to happen, because there's a lot of exciting thing happening on Collision and on Dynamite. And there's matches like, okay, so last week we had Copeland and Minoru Suzuki, right? And like, whoever thought that was going to happen, right? Yeah. So I feel like AEW is almost kind of going back to its roots, because like that's what, like, in the beginning of AEW, would just be like, whoa, what is this match? This is going to be awesome. I need to see it. And there's a lot of that happening right now, and it's very exciting.
And it's AEW has always just been such a unique place, and I think that's why so many people enjoy it. And getting to see you do incredible things in the ring, it's phenomenal to watch. Now, one thing I got to ask you before I let you out of here: who's the strongest person in AEW? Look, you are the bull of the woods, but there's some other competitors out there that can take you on.
My mind immediately goes to Mark Henry.
Yeah.
I mean, he's older now, but he's still so strong. Like, he is so strong still. Of the active guys, Powerhouse Hobbs. I mean, he's a powerhouse. I think Buddy Murphy is actually underrated in strength. I think he's extremely strong. He just makes stuff look very easy that maybe shouldn't, that are not easy. Trying to think who else. Wardlow, Samoa Joe. I mean, Joe is always just, people forget or just don't think about it. But like Samoa Joe, like, he's very strong. Yeah, I think that would be the top guys there. But I think Powerhouse Hobbs probably, he earned his name for a reason.
Left yourself out.
Well, I'll have other people do that for me, like so there's a lot of people that especially nowadays, that just talk themselves, like, they're really good at talking how awesome they are, right? But then it comes to, like, they're really good at talking the talk. But then it comes to walking the walk, and you're just like, wait, there's something doesn't connect there. I feel like with me, it's maybe the other way, that I like need to up my talking a little bit to match my walking. But if my walking is better than my talking, I'm completely fine with that, because I feel if you're good, you tell everybody how good you are. But if you're great, other people do the talking for you.
No, we definitely see that. One other thing before I let you roll. Are we going to be seeing you guys here Memorial Day weekend for Double or Nothing?
Well, so this was my first Double or Nothing last year, I believe. Right? Was it? I think so. So I would hope so. I don't know. I honestly don't really look at my calendar too far out, and nothing has been officially announced yet. But I think Double or Nothing has been here for, like, what was it, 2 or 3 years now in a row? Or 4 years.
Yeah, I believe.
So, I know AEW likes its traditions. So, I hope we'll be back in Vegas. I guess if a lot of people show up to Collision, which I hope all your listeners do, that will just, be another proof that Vegas needs more AEW, which I think they need anyway.
Oh, I wish you guys were here every month. I'd love to hang out with you all the time.
See, I think AEW should have a residency here in Vegas.
Oh, done.
That's what I think. I think AEW needs a residency in Vegas with like a daily 1 hour show. I don't know, 7 to 8 or like 6 to 7 in the evening, and then one bigger show on let's say a Sunday 2 hour, and I think that would be great. That's what I think should be a residency here in Vegas for AEW.
I think, Tony Khan, I hope you heard that. Claudio Castagnoli says, Vegas forever. It's done.
Viva Las Vegas, right?
Claudio, and if anybody wants to find you on social media, where can they get you?
Oh, I'm barely on Twitter and Instagram. But yeah, you can follow me on there. But most importantly, support AEW or whatever wrestling promotion you like, and have fun with it. I feel like a lot of people have become very tribal and like if you like this, you cannot like that. Like no, you can just like everything. You can. I mean, like you can have preferences. That's fine. Like we all do, right? We all have preferences in food, but at the end of the day, we all eat, right? So, watch AEW Dynamite, Rampage, and Collision every week, and just enjoy it. And I think that's the message for me. That's important. Support the BCC. We have new awesome shirts, with animals on it, so it's fun.
Very nice. Well, I want to thank you for coming on the Mark Hoke Show. Really do appreciate it.
Thank you, Mark. I appreciate it.
And fanboying a little bit. Been a long time follower of yours, and it is an honor to have gotten to meet you. Been watching you since the Ring of Honor days, and
good days.
An
good
honor
days.
to get to have you on the show.
Oh, thank you, Mark. I appreciate it. Thanks for being a fan. And to me, that's it's so cool to see people who've been watching for so long and stay true. And I feel like I never want to let those fans down, because like I don't want to be that guy that's like, oh man, he used to be, like remember 7 years ago when he was good, and now he's just like still hanging on. Like I want to be the guy that you said with evolution, like it always needs to be better. You can never take a step back, and I feel like we're doing that in AEW, and it's a lot of fun. There's a lot of young guys, a lot of old guys, like me, and that's a really good mix, and it's fun to watch. So thank you very much. I appreciate it.
You are welcome. Thanks for coming on the show.
Thank you, Mark.